We bought the Taproot filly out of Tisn't She Beautiful and will be trained by Todd Fletcher. Extremely athletic, a lot like him. We're excited to see him on the track.
Beautiful filly. She's out of a graded stakes mare that ran early as a 2-year-old, so I like that quite a bit out of her. This filly looks like she's going to be super early and precocious. Very good muscled filly, just a lot to like about her.
Taproot, standing at Gainesway.
Hey everybody, Jay Privman along with Marty McGee as we take a look at a big race this week. It's the Louisiana Derby, but Marty, not a whole lot of change at all regarding the top of the Derby watch list, and for good reason. We didn't have anything from last week in terms of prep races.
Yeah, Jay, I feel like I'm almost on a Florida vacation or something. I mean, we haven't really done a whole lot to earn our money the last couple of weeks, but that's okay. It'll heat up soon enough. We've still got Smile Happy as a very lukewarm favorite at 6-1, followed by a quartet of 8-1s, and one of those is one of the favorites coming up here, Jay, in the Louisiana Derby, which you will be attending this week. And his name is Epicenter, and he's clearly the one to beat in the Louisiana Derby at Fairgrounds. Right,
he comes off a win in the Risen Star, and Marty, his win in the Risen Star came right after a real tough beat that he had in the Lecomte against Call Me Midnight. Call Me Midnight didn't run in the Risen Star, and it seemed as though in the Risen Star, from a pace standpoint, Epicenter had it his way, whereas he really didn't in the Lecomte. How do you see the race shaping up this week?
Well, we've got a field of 9. There's some definite come from behinders, such as Call Me Midnight and Rattle and Roll, who comes over to Louisiana from Florida. And I think you and I and most every handicapper would agree, Jay, that if Epicenter is allowed the kind of lead that he got in the Risen Star and just walk the dog on home, he's going to be tough to beat. So I think the key horse in here is number 2, Zozos, who was really impressive in getting a pretty competitive Beyer speed figure and an allowance win. So he's yet another live one from the Brad Cox barn. And if Florent Giroux sends him from the inside, and there's a long run down the stretch the first time and engages Epicenter, this race will have a way different look than it would if he did something otherwise.
So we'll see how the pace unfolds early. I think Epicenter obviously is still the horse to beat. His performance, I thought, in the Lecomte was exemplary, even though he got beat right on the wire that day. The pace, Marty, as you just alluded to, is probably going to be very impactful in terms of the chances for Call Me Midnight, because it seemed as though the pace certainly helped him in the Lecomte. He was purposely kept out of the Risen Star. I was skeptical of his 2-turn ability going into the Lecomte. He won that day, but I think it was pace aided for him. He does get more real estate to work with here, but I'm still not all in on him. What do you think of Call Me Midnight?
Well, I mean, he was 25-1 or so when he won the Lecomte, and it did set up for him. And again, if Zozos goes with Epicenter, and then maybe a couple of others such as Galt, who's also coming to Louisiana from over here in Florida, and Pioneer Medina, who did all the chasing in the Risen Star, if they cluster up, say at the 3/8 or the quarter pole, and it becomes a gang rush, then I think clearly that would favor the likes of Call Me Midnight or Rattle and Roll, who badly needed his race here in Florida, I thought. But, again, Jay, it's just if you got to bet at the quarter pole, you'd probably be better off than before the race, because clearly that's going to be the key, is how this thing sets up.
You're looking for some in-running action, are you?
I wouldn't mind it, yeah. You know where I can get some?
Nowhere legal at the moment. For Rattle and Roll, he's a horse that you saw in the Fountain of Youth. He was fortunate to not be impacted by the accident that happened in that race. He's coming back on short rest. As you said, it certainly seemed like he needed that race. You've been keeping in regular contact with his trainer, Kenny McPeak. Are you looking for an improved effort from him this week?
Very much so, unless Epicenter, as we've been talking about, gets to walk the dog. So I think he's going to run a lot better. He wasn't involved in the unfortunate spill in the Fountain of Youth because he was A, to the inside of it, and B, kind of far behind anyway. But he did finish up okay, and if he could just somehow run back to the way he ran at Keeneland last fall, Jay, he really might be a factor on the Derby trail within this race and then beyond.
Won the Breeders' Futurity and then didn't race again until that Fountain of Youth. So he was coming off a really long layoff, and obviously improvement will be needed, but it is expected for him this Saturday in the Louisiana Derby. Marty, we've mentioned in passing a couple of others in here, in particular Zozos, because of his pace implications. He's lightly raced. This will be the biggest test that he's had, but on figs, he fits, doesn't he?
You would think so. I mean, he got a 92, and that's kind of been that's a terrific number for second time out, especially. And if he can just take another step forward, Jay, and he's got some pedigrees. He's a Munnings colt and owned by the folks from Minnesota that we've known quite a while, Barry and Joni Butzow. So, again, Brad Cox always seems to have these live ones hidden away somewhere, and here's one, and this is his chance to shine.
And then a couple others I just want to mention. Galt obviously didn't get a chance in the Fountain of Youth because he was impacted by the accident. I thought, Marty, in watching the replay of the race, that he was kind of moving in tandem with the long shot that ran third in that race at the time of the accident. I think he's a capable enough horse, and I'm interested to see how he does here. I talked to his trainer, Bill Mott, who said that this horse bounced out of that unfortunate incident, none the worse for the wear, and he's ready to have him run again this week. As for Pioneer of Medina, I just thought he wasn't good enough last time in the Risen Star. Where are you at regarding Galt and Pioneer of Medina?
Well, in my conversations with Todd Pletcher about Pioneer of Medina, he's just kind of seemed, like he's just okay. I don't know how high he is on him. He had every chance to go past Epicenter and the Risen Star and couldn't. As far as Galt, he was actually the front runner in the Holy Bull that set up things for Uae Derby and Simplification in that race. So as you said, he was in the thick of it when they were fortunate to escape injury, both Colton and jockey Junior Alvarado in the Fountain of Youth. So they're back at it again.
Well, that's our look at the Louisiana Derby this Saturday at the fairgrounds. Also this weekend on the road to the Kentucky Derby are the Uae Derby, which offers 100 points to the winner. And then that's on Saturday. And on Sunday is the Sunland Derby, and that race offers 50 points to the winner. So there should be quite a bit of movement on the Derby Watch Top 20 when we visit with you again next week. But that's all we've got for this week. For Marty McGee, I'm Jay Privman. Thanks for watching.